Relations regarding the ongoing banditry attacks in Igembe North constituency, Meru County, which have claimed the lives of actually 5 residents and 2 police reservists from Amwadi Ward. In the statement, the committee should provide reasons for the persistent banditry attacks despite various promises and assurances from the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to end these menaces and restore peace to the residents of Meru County. Number 2, clarify whether the ministry has assessed the impact of these recurring attacks on the residents, including the disruption of their daily activities and way of life, as well as the socioeconomic, cultural, and political consequences. Number 3, state the interventions made by the ministry to support residents affected by the ongoing banditry. And number 4, outline the mechanisms being implemented to permanently restore peace and order in the region and to build public confidence in the security apparatus. And the last one, Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the reported cases in Kirangond Ward, in Igembe East Ward, and Igembe East Ward in Igembe Central Constituency in Meru County that has caused 1 death, several injuries, loss of livestock, and destruction of property. In the statement, the committee should, 1, investigate the circumstances surrounding the escape of wildlife from the natural habitat, specifically Meru National Park and Ngaya Forest, without the knowledge of the oversight of the Kenya Wildlife Service officers, outlining the measures that have been implemented to address any identified gaps and prevent similar incidents in the future. And 2, state measures the KWS has put in place to mitigate human-wildlife conflict in the area, and whether there is any infrastructure in place to facilitate timely reporting of wildlife attacks to KWS, ensuring a rapid response to such incidents. And 3, outline measures in place by the State Department of Wildlife to ensure that crimes made by victims of wildlife, human-wildlife conflict are processed efficiently and promptly, compensating and allowing victims to restore their livelihoods and return to their usual way of life. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, as I read my statements, my colleague here, Senator Chelege, made a lot of noise. I was like reasoning to myself. It's only that I could not interrupt my statement, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Fernande, you're cautioned. Senator Gloria Oroba, that statement is dropped. In fact, the 2 statements, they're dropped. Senator Richard Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Committee of Health regarding the operation and management of Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital in Kisii. Mr. Speaker, sir, there have been numerous reports and allegations indicating mismanagement and systemic failures at Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, which, if not addressed, could have dire consequences for the management and eventual healthcare providing services to the residents of Kisii. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, I would like the committee to inquire into the allegations of fraudulent practices involving the misuse of Patients' National Hospital Insurance Fund cards at the Teaching and Referral Hospital and demand an investigation and demand a transparency, accountability, and information pertaining to the truth as to how these cards are being utilized. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to investigate the alleged mistreatment and unlawful transfer of clinical officers at the hospital from one area to another without even consultation or without anybody making a mistake, which has led to the disruption of essential healthcare services, financial mismanagement, and discrimination against all these employees who work in the county health facility. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, I would like the committee to examine the audit reports of the hospital's pharmaceutical inventory to determine if the medicines which have been procured and supplied in the hospital have been procured and supplied professionally as is required by the law. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, I would like the committee to establish reports that patients at the hospital are being compelled to seek critical medical services in private clinics and health facilities, some of which are linked to individuals within the hospital management at the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. Number 5, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to investigate the reason behind the deterioration of donor relations with this hospital, particularly with the utilization of the funds which have been provided by these donor funds and donor agencies. Mr. Speaker, the second question I'd like to ask is, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 53 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Lands, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the delayed compensation of landowners whose property was compulsorily acquired for the construction of the Eldoret Bypass Road project. Mr. Speaker, the Kapchorwa, Swam, Kitale and Eldoret Bypass Road is a project that has been done by a multi-agency and departments of government that provide an important link between Uganda and Kenya. However, Mr. Speaker, the families who owned this land and had acquired it paved way for the project to continue, and as a result, they were offered and informed that they would actually be compensated. Mr. Speaker, that did not happen. I would like, therefore, to make a request that we seek the National Land Commission to make sure that they can explain to the Committee of Lands in this House why these individuals have never been compensated for the last 9 years. This delay has severely disrupted the livelihood of these landowners, causing significant financial strain on the affected families because some of them, Mr. Speaker, moved from their lands where they actually went, bought other land which they were not able to pay the full amounts, and now they're being asked to make sure that they vacate the land which they had bought. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, I would like the committee to investigate claims of undue delay in the compensation of these families around the Eldoret Town Bypass Road project, whose properties were compulsorily acquired. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, I would like the committee to explain the reasons for the partial payments to some of the families and leaving out others outside, and I would like the committee to find out the criteria which was used by the National Land Commission in the selection of the individuals to be compensated and confirm whether this was done transparently or otherwise. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to examine allegations that the National Land Commission disobeyed court orders and transferred land to the Kenya National Highways Authority without providing full compensation to the owners who were supposed to be compensated within the law. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the last point, point number 5, I would like the committee to recommend a review of the procedures and advise the committee to recommend and advise on the review of the procedures used by the National Land Commission on the acquisition and compensation of private land to individuals who may not have the capacity to influence or even change the system that is being used right now. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me that opportunity. Thank you.
Now, honorable senators, for the convenience of the House, and pursuant to Standing Order 45-2, allow me to rearrange the sequence of the order paper. And we do division on DORA. And thereafter we will resume debate as contained in the order paper. Anything that is on the floor of the House is the debate, Honorable Oroba, so stand guided. Yes. What is the intervention, Majority Leader?
I use it. Oh, okay. Mr. Speaker, I have a matter of concern that perhaps you may need to guide us as a House, and maybe you will tell us how you want us to proceed. But I'm aware that there is a matter presently before the National Assembly which may or may not find its way to the Senate. Previously, there have been findings in court against senators for utterances that they made before the matter got to the Senate. Therefore, I'd wish to request your good office to guide senators on how to conduct themselves in the next few days in relation to that very matter that is before the Assembly. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, because I have seen colleagues, some publicly take positions this way or the other on this matter, yet there's a Court of Appeal decision against one of our colleagues actually here in 2015 on something that they just said about an impeachment proceeding before it got to this House. And the court was able to find that indeed that particular senator was prejudiced even before hearing the matter. Would you perhaps guide us on how to behave, Mr. Speaker, so that we know how to behave, where to go, where not to go, and so many other things, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I will give a communication before the end of the day on this particular matter. It cannot be a point of order, Senator Fernandez. Yes, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, while the issue that has been raised by Majority Leader is of weighty concern, but under the law there is what we call fair comment. Mr. Speaker, it is judicially noticed that your counterpart in the National Assembly and his deputy have taken a position on the matter that is active before them. So even as you consider your ruling, you should also be able to guide us, because the umpire of the arbiter neutral House, who should be neutral, have already taken a position on that matter. So, Mr. Speaker, even as you rule on it, there is also the principle of access to information, fair comment, and freedom of media. So even some things are judicially noticed that going by the decision in your Solomonic ruling should not appear in any way to gag members from giving what we call fair comment, because we have seen people who are senior in Parliament taking certain position that it might be presumptuous that they are thinking and the position they all can affect the outcome and decisions that is actively in the matter. So, Mr. Speaker, while that needs to be guided and decision has been made in a court of law, I don't think the intention, the proper reading of the ruling of Supreme Court was not in any way to gag members, but of course to try and avoid the principle of sub judice, as well as in the principle of res judicata in matters that have already been stopped by a court of law and Parliament. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We'll consider that in the communication. Yes, Senator Wambua.
So I thank you, the Speaker, and I've heard what my brother, my colleague, Senator Cheriot, has asked from the chair. Speaker, my only worry is one. are actually anticipating debate. This matter is not before us. Nobody even knows whether this matter will come before us. As things stand now, we're just hearing things happening in the National Assembly. There is no guarantee that this matter will come before the Senate. Speaker, the only thing that I would ask you to consider in your direction is the fact that this is a matter that is happening in the public space. And there will be a lot of people, including leaders, addressing themselves to this matter. And as I said, there is nothing in that process so far that anybody can cling on and say, this matter will definitely come before the Senate. That will be determined by the vote in the National Assembly. The Speaker, a space where, and I hope that the Senate will never go down to that level, where a speaker waiting to sit on a matter and the deputy would pronounce themselves on the outcome of a matter. Mr. Speaker, I'm just hoping that one day it will never happen in the Senate, that the Speaker of the Senate or the deputy or members of the panel will ever pronounce themselves on any matter, irrespective of how strongly they feel about that matter. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Sergeant at Arms, close the door. We will come back to you once we are done with the division. Clerk, proceed to read the two orders.
Order number 8, the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 38 of 2024, Division. Order number 9, the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 53 of 2023, second reading, Division.
Sergeant at Arms, I'm informed that there could be senators in the lounge wishing to come in. Kindly just ring the bell before you close the door and draw the bar. Ring the bell for 2 minutes. For 2 minutes. Utasoma, we're coming back. The majority leader and the minority leader kindly approach the chairperson. Majority leader and minority leader. Sergeant, at times, just ring the bell for further 5 minutes. Order, honorable senators. Sergeant at Arms, kindly close the door and draw the bar. Honorable senators, please take your seats. Senator Eddy, take your seat. Now, honorable senators, we are going to defer order number 8. We are going to defer order number 8 until tomorrow. We will proceed with order number 9. Clerk, kindly call that order. So, honorable senators, this is how we're going to proceed. This order has already been called out. It is the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 53 of 2023. That is the bill that is up for division now. I will ask you to pull out your delegate cards from the units, and then Sergeant at Arms, go around and pick any card that is unattended. Senator Roba, kindly take your seat. Now, honorable senators, I will now put the question. That the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 53 of 2023 be now read a second time. You may proceed to log back in and vote.